All right, odds. What are odds? Odds are a game that you play when you are not a strong player, and the player that you're playing against takes odds, so he removes pieces from his or her board, and essentially allows it to be a closer game. So if you're not a very strong chess player, maybe the person you're playing against gives you knight odds, or rook odds, or bishop odds, or queenside odds, or whatever type of odds that we've offered in the application. There's quite a few odds, and we didn't add all of them, but we added the top ones. And this feature was requested by Peter L. And I thought it was a good feature just because it's helping the Scholastic kids, and it also gives you the ability to notate the game, which makes it really easy. In this, we've also integrated it with FEN, which is Forsyth Edwards notation. It's a notation which is a standard notation for describing a particular board position of a chess game. So what that means is that whatever odds that you choose, when you export this PGN file and put it into a chess engine, it's going to open up the game based on the type of odds that you set up. So if you gave them queen odds, the queen will be missing from the board. If you gave them queenside odds, all the queens will be missing from the board, and you can step through the notation. Something I've noticed is in odds games, even like let's say you had queenside odds and you did a castle. When you castle on queenside odds, you can actually castle within odds games, which is part of the rules for odds. But oddly enough, I've noticed that in Skid versus PC, it actually, when you do the castle, it actually adds a rook back on the board. So they don't know how to deal with odds properly, at least in Skid versus PC. I haven't had a chance to look at it in ChessBase yet. So that's something that may or may not work properly in some of the tournament software out there, but it'll at least give you the ability to have the game notated, and you can go over the game at least on the review game on your chess noter. So we're going to go ahead and get started with odds after we've burned 2 minutes of this. So we'll quickly go to test and test and test. One thing to note is we've added those time controls. On the time controls now, you can add the time controls for using basically whatever time settings that you have on the game that you're playing. So if you're playing a game that's got game 60 and a delay 5, you can put that in there. If you've got a game 60 and you're adding increments, you can do 5 seconds plus, and you can basically write whatever you need to. So we'll just do a quick G60 with a delay of 5 just to kind of show you what it looks like. And then essentially we're going to choose odds. All right, let's start the odds tournament. This video may run a little long just because I think it's important to go through a lot of this. It was very difficult to describe this in the manual, and I feel like this, while this video may be a little longer than most of my videos, I think that this is important to go through this. So I'm going to go ahead and set up round, board. We're going to go ahead and choose an opponent. So we'll just do test and test. And these ratings in here are saved for club. So this would be considered a club game even though it's odds. So to get started with this, essentially I'm going to be playing white. So my opponent's going to play black, and I'm going to have the advantage. So I get the advantage and my black player doesn't. And we'll kind of step through a couple of these screens so you can get an idea of how it works. So I'm playing against a player who's playing black. I'm playing white, and I have the white advantage. And then I'm going to choose the type of odds that we're going to use. So we have a couple different options in here. We have knight odds, rook and knight odds, 2 rook odds, queen odds, and queenside odds. So we'll step through all these just kind of to give you an idea what it looks like. So we'll choose knight odds for the first game and hit start. And in here, as you'll see on the board, there is no knight. The knight's missing. So essentially at this point, you can play through the whole game. Everything notates normal. I'm not going to start the notation because, again, just like any tournament game, as soon as you start notating, it automatically locks the game down. So I want to kind of step through and show you all the different odds. So if you hit the back button, we can choose the odds. So again, he's playing black. I'm playing with the white advantage, and we're going to choose rook odds and hit the start. And here you'll see that the rook is missing and the pawn is moved up 1. This is again how odds is played. So These positions were picked up directly from all the different websites that offer odds. There's a handful of them out there. There's some on Wikipedia. There was some on chess.com, and there was another website that I found that had a lot of odds information on it. So this is where we captured all this, and all of this information was gathered from chess books over the years. So we'll go back and we'll show you what it looks like with rook and knight odds. So here it is with a rook missing and a knight missing. So again, we can play the game and notate again the whole game, and it does all the notation. We'll choose odds again, and here we'll choose 2 rooks. And here both rooks are missing from the board. And then we'll go back one more time. We'll choose queen odds. Start the game. And of course the queen is missing from the board. And finally, And finally we'll do queenside odds and hit the start button. And here the whole queenside is missing. So essentially these are the type of odds that you can play. Now, if we play the same game but give black the advantage, where we're playing white and our opponent's playing black, we can go in and do the same thing with the odds. So if I did a rook and knight odds, now I'm the one that's missing the rook and the knight. So essentially you can play back and forth depending on who's got the odds and who's got the board. Again, you can do this so if I'm playing white and black's got the advantage, excuse me, my opponent's playing white, I'm playing black, so I'm going to give white the white advantage. You can go ahead and choose the type of odds that you're going to play and hit the start button. And again, I'm playing black now, white's got the advantage, and essentially we can play the game. So I think it's important to kind of see the differences in the settings here. Again, like I said, this video is a little longer than normal, but again, it notates just like normal. So, you can notate it, and nothing's going to be different in terms of the notation. I don't have a knight, so I can't move a knight. So, you can just basically go through the game and play like normal. I can, move the queen, pawn, bishop, whatever. So I'll show you an example here of what I was talking about, how you can castle even though there's not an actual rook here. So because of odds states that you can castle even if there's not a rook, so you can still do your castle move, and it does the queenside castle. Again, like I've noted, there's been some issues with Skid versus PC where it actually shows the rook shows up on the board. So I don't know if they know how to deal with odds properly. Again, I haven't taken the time to test this in ChessBase, but again, we're just sticking with basic logic here on how the game works, and essentially we play it through. So when you're done, you choose who won the game. We'll choose white won, and then it says, are you sure you want to cancel the game, or end the game, excuse me. You hit the OK button, and it just ends it instantly, because there is no signatures, because it's an odds game, which is treating it like a club game. So we hope you really enjoy the odds feature, Peter. We hope the rest of you also can take advantage of it in your scholastic areas or clubs, or for new players on the scene that are just starting out with the USCF or FIDE and want to start learning how to play odds. So thank you for your time.